All right, we will call to order the September 4th, 2025 meeting of the Historic District Commission for the City of Saugatuck. First item on the agenda is roll call. Sarah, would you help us with that?
Here.
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 Patterson.
Here.
And Stanford.
Here. We have a quorum. Thank you so much. Are there any agenda changes, additions, or deletions? I think just one.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, from staff, our deputy clerk pointed out that your esteemed secretary, Mr. Donahue, has since left the commission, and so that's a position that doesn't have a lot of duties, but is necessary for your rules and procedures. So we'd ask that you add an agenda item to select a new secretary.
Okay, should we do that under commission,
I would suggest maybe under new business C.
new business C?
7C.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Has everyone had a?
If you'd want at least have somebody maybe make that motion and
Oh.
second it and vote on that.
We're not going to do that under new business C.
I'll make a motion to add this as new business
Oh, got you.
for election of a commission secretary.
Thank you.
Okay.
All in favor, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Okay, we now have a new business C.
Yep.
Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes, two sets for the regular meeting held on July 10th and the special meeting held on July 31st? And if so, would someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve the minutes from the regular meeting held on July 10th. Right? And the special meeting held on July 31st.
Thank you. Any second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed? Thank you.
For those that are wondering, the Saugatuck Middle School won the cross country.
Oh, and you had a little cross country getting here.
You say, were you in it?
Native.
Are there any public comments on the agenda items tonight? And is there any unfinished business? And if not, let's go ahead and go to new business. First item is 142 Butler Street. Hello. Come on out. Yeah, please introduce yourself and let us know if there's anything that's you want to add to what's already in the
Sure,
application.
yeah, I'm Charles Carlson, the architect. And there are two kind of things that we were presenting tonight. The first, actually the back phase, we want to do a small addition off the top of the building. Right now, the existing structure expands almost out to the west end, and we want to, it's a really horrible construction. I mean, the roof deck doesn't meet code, nothing meets code, so we want to take it all off down to the original brick building. The original building, half of it, the front half was a 2-story, the back half was a 1-story. So, and then over the years, they added to the 2nd-story back half. We want to rip it all down, including the roof and everything, and then build a small little 1-story addition off of the 2nd floor back. And then also on the back, we used to have a screen porch or a porch all the way across the back end of the building, and we want to fill that in for storage for their store. Right now, half of it's filled in with concrete block that's failing. We want to take that out, build a new foundation, and build a wood structure on the back. So that's the back portion of the building. And that's what we're really here to present. But while we're here, we want to make a small addition or revision to the storefront, which I think is really most important to you guys. Originally, we wanted to do one big, huge glass window in the front. You can see the original that you guys approved back in the spring. After talking to the window manufacturer and the contractor and everything, it just seems to be more practical to divide the big window up into 4 sections. And we are suggesting that it would be an aluminum frame for durability, safety, and it will give us a better overall product as far as insulation and everything like that. So it's just a better product. So that's kind of what we're proposing. Everything else is going to remain the same that you guys already approved. It's just the division of the windows.
Thank you. I'm wondering if it makes sense to everyone if we go around the table, separate them and just do maybe the window on the front first. And then we'll go back around and handle the addition on the back.
Makes sense.
And since we only have one application tonight, instead of being formal about it, is there anyone that wants to jump in with clarifying questions or comments?
My client took a photograph of a similar situation in South Haven. Do you want me to, she asked me to pass it around.
Sure, if
So
you'd like,
I-
that's fine.
Thank
you know,
you.
That's kind of what we think it will end up looking similar to that.
Could I go first and just
Sure.
remind the guidelines?
Please.
I think that's important that we get this sorted before we go too much further. I'm just going to reference the historic guidelines that we have, the ones that I think that are in play on this change for the window, which we originally approved a wood trimmed full space window, no dividers or anything, correct? Okay. And this also takes the bump out and flattens it to the front of the building. So right now, if you go down to the old place, it's got that bump out. So this is going to go flat, right? Okay. The ones that I think come into play are the ones that, some that were flagged, replacing wood features. Hang on, let me just go, let me get here. Take me a minute. Compatible substitute materials should be considered only if the original material is not technically feasible. So that's replacing wood features. That's one of the guidelines. Replacing doors and windows, just a second. Let me get to that. We're, oh, hang on, let me get to the commercial piece. Just a second.
You're fine.
I'm under everyone here. Okay. One more. I should have highlighted it. Okay. New and rebuilt storefronts. They have a whole thing on commercial sections. And this is the one. Storefront glass is a major element of the main facade of a retail commercial building, taking up most of the length of the facade. The bottom of the glass is normally within 2 feet of the pavement and the top at least as high as the top of the entry door. Glass transom windows are often placed above the storefront. The glass should be clear, not tinted or mirrored. And it also comments, so it's a solid one piece of glass that extends from the bottom to the top of that. So I think that's the one item that from a guideline standpoint that we probably need to air out here carefully. And I also walked down the street and I noticed that most of the commercial buildings that haven't been completely, redone tend to have a full-size open window, solid window without any dividing lights or anything like that. So
Okay.
that's the one that I'm stuck on right now.
Okay,
Everything else, no, that's right.
thanks, Keith.
Yep.
Anyone else have questions, comments? Russ? go
Yeah,
ahead.
thanks, Chairman Straker. Thanks, Commissioner Patterson for the comment. So this, and I've told this story before, back in my previous service on the Historic District Commission, the building that is right next to what is currently Jim Barnett's studio, there's 2 windows, and back when they came in front of us to replace the window, and it's now got, I don't know, maybe 20 divided lights, something like that.
Mhm.
And that was fairly controversial, and I voted no because of the consistency of those plate glass windows that, as the other commissioner mentioned, and I just brought up the Google Street View, it's almost all of the windows down the street have that single pane window and some have the transom, et cetera. So I appreciate reading the standards because I think that is going to be something I can't support to have the divided lights. I'd like to hear more from Chuck to see what his perspective is on this in terms of why the change was made.
Mhm.
So I support the project. I'm just
Yeah.
concerned about this.
Yeah, and the only proviso they had in there was if it's not technically feasible.
Right.
And certainly a solid plate glass that large is technically feasible with a wood frame construction, which is what we approved before.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
stuck
we-
out to me too. When I was reading the proposal, I pulled out my notebook and saw the same things that you saw. And then the original picture showed the one flat window. So I was wondering why you decided, to go with this.
You want me to address that?
Yeah, sure.
You know, it's gonna give us a better structure as far as wind against glass. I mean, you have to, you can imagine if you have a big force of wind, it's gonna really make the glass move. So it's kind of like a structural situation here. Also, it's a safety issue because a huge, it will be tempered glass, of course, if we do a big one. But even if if a tempered glass window that large breaks, somebody could still get hurt. Whereas one of these break, it's not that much glass falling, So it's kind of like a safety issue, and then it's also a performance issue, because the modern frame, which would be aluminum frame, is gonna give us a better R value for the glass. So it's kind of like an energy thing that is kind of, as an architect following the Michigan Building Code, the new code just came out for commercial buildings, and it's the changes that they made to the new code is more energy efficient buildings. So as an architect, that's what I'm striving to is to, give my client a good product in the end. Wood is just not, it's not as good as product anymore is what we can get with, manufactured products.
Yeah, Meg.
I appreciate your coming and your perspective. However, I think it's pretty clear, given the guidelines from my perspective, that this does not fit with what's already happening in town. And, I hear what you're saying, but windows that are larger than that are done all the time. So I struggle to, I hear what you're saying. I appreciate you bringing up those points, but I think that, I think it's completely feasible to do it
Is
in keeping with what's.
is the issue the dividers or is it the aluminum frame?
Both.
For
me,
it's
both. Yeah,
Okay, all
if
right.
you go to the original, can I interrupt here?
No, go
The
ahead.
original is what we approved.
Yeah.
If we can do that, we're set.
No, okay, all right.
Okay, because if there's a case that says it's not technically feasible,
Right.
everything you brought up is, guidelines and good things to do.
Sure.
But there's lots of windows around in town that haven't blown out lately that are larger than that.
Right.
That, we're happy to go back to the original.
Good.
This is
Good.
something that we thought, since we're here doing the back.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
thought we might bring
Yeah.
this forward. But
Mr.
I
Chair.
think we'd like to see it go back.
And Teresa, the owner, had her hand raised on Zoom.
Oh, sorry, I did not see that. Sorry. Thank you for bringing that up. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Sorry.
Yeah, one of, when we originally started looking at the windows, it was the glass company that said that the size of that window would void the warranty and they would have to get special equipment to bring it in, which, was understandable. But the problem, another problem that I felt as a store owner was that it would take 4 to 6 weeks to get that piece of glass. And so I'm thinking if, someone broke my window or threw something in my window, then it's going to take us 4 to 6 weeks to replace that window in the future. That was one of my concerns.
Okay. Thanks, Teresa. Helen, do you have any questions, comments?
I do not.
John?
No.
I don't, disagree with anything you guys are saying. My only caveat is, it's a contributing structure that the, and you guys know me, I am the window freak. But we're taking this back to the way it was. This becomes the only exception. So the way it's sitting right now is not original. They're making it more original with what we approved last time. You're taking it back to the way it was, in totality. And the only change now is this window. So all I want to do is like balance the fact that like what you are doing, I'm saying you as the applicant, what you are doing to restore this per our guidelines in a way that most people wouldn't undo what's been done to this building to create what's in your application. That's a lot. And I really appreciate that. So I'm trying to balance like the opinion on this divided light window with the other work that you're doing, because we don't have a perfectly pure district in that way. So that's the only thing I would say. I don't think the divided light is successful for the same reasons you guys said that. It kind of kills me a little bit because I really appreciate what you're doing to the building. But I have a hard time supporting it as well. Long rambling explanation, but just to,
While I hear everything you're saying too about, you know, potential lead time issues, if there is something that happens, if we make this consideration going forward, now there's past precedent to change all sorts of things that I don't think we want to see happen. So we have to be really true to, you know, the guidelines. But I do echo your sentiments as far as the rest of the application, so I appreciate, you know, how thorough you've been and your considerations.
do we want to, let's park this for a minute and why don't we go to the back? Because I don't know that we want to vote on this in two separate things. We might, let's have the second conversation and then we'll come back and figure out how we want to make a motion. Would anyone like to start on the back of the property? I will. Go for it.
There wasn't anything that I saw from a historic district guideline perspective that this violates. It's not visible from the street view at all. The only way you can get to the back is go up that little alley off of
Patio, pink
yeah.
patio.
That's the only way you can see it. And the use of the all the materials, I didn't notice anything, but I didn't have any issues with what was going on back there.
Thank you.
I agree with Commissioner Patterson. I think there's a large amount of investment that's being made in this building to bring it to usable state. And again, when we first reviewed the application several months ago, it was kind of amazing about how just, I don't know how I can describe the building. It's just not, and after having gone through it now, it's discovering something that need to be improved. So I'm completely in support with the changes, which will be mostly imperceptible to me walking past the building. The only thing that caught my eye was and it's probably more of a planning commission zoning issue, is that it's encroaching on a property, which is not within our purview to discuss, but that was the one thing that popped out from Mr. Jurassic's analysis of this, which is not something we'll discuss this evening, but I'm in full support. The materials didn't have any issue or anything else. I'm really appreciative of the investment, and Chuck and Teresa have done a great job and I think revitalizing a building, which is of incredible importance to our community.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I agree, and I think, I believe the way you've submitted it, it's a vast improvement.
No, I agree too. I went to take a look and you can't see it. If anyone didn't know about that secret patio, they would never know how to get back there. So, yeah, I think it looks good.
Agreed. I walked by it too. It looks great and no issue with the materials.
Thank you.
Same.
I think you've massively improved the back.
Oh, yeah.
Taken like 7 of the 15
When
elements.
is
of
all
it.
this construction gonna happen?
Oh, God.
You know, we gotta go through the planning commission next, you know, and there is an issue with the restaurant, it does overset the south boundary line. Although that's in the north building, their north neighbor oversets our boundary line. So everything. That's sort of looking at, I don't know what the planning commissions say. What they have to do. If they make us pull back 6 inches on the second floor, we have to promote you guys.
I think we can probably make a motion for the whole project. It sounds like, since it's one application, it sounds like we could probably make a motion where the motion confirms the original intent of the front storefront window as submitted before versus this application, and then reference the back if somebody wants to make a motion that way.
Well, I guess while I'm at it. Yeah, I agree with that. I move to approve the demolition of the first and second floor rear portions of the building, reconstruction of the first floor rear addition, and construction of a second floor bedroom addition and roof deck as presented in the application and supporting materials. In regards to the request to modify the front window, is that what you want to call that? We will defer to the original approval. It still stands. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
Whatever that was approved on, that does not change.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And we can include on that motion to add to Keith's previous approval to, just to be specific, no divided light, one single pane.
Aluminum.
Correct.
Wood, yeah, it's just as described on the original
Yeah.
application. Yeah.
Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yeah.
Yes, opposed? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa.
Thanks, Chuck. Thanks, Teresa.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Say thank you.
The second item on our agenda is on page 27 of your packet. So we put this in the, thank you, we put this in the agenda because Helen, for your benefit, one of the things that we wanted to tackle this year was maybe revisiting the signs on the edge of the district to change from the brown and white signs that are a little more MDOT institutional to something that reflects the character of the district that we have. So I wrote a little brief, a creative brief, sent it to Concept A, which is this creative studio that does the Convention and Visitors Bureau work, and asked them if they'd like to prepare a proposal, and that's what we have here. So some of this language is a little bit of my language that was in the brief. Some of it is their language that they presented back to us, but you can get a sense without me reading this, kind of what the goals of the maybe the signage project were. I'll just call out a couple of the bullets. Feel fresh and celebratory, but still timeless and relevant for today. Instill a sense of pride and remind residents that they're part of a place worth celebrating. Coordinating with the branding without it feeling like it's part of a brand campaign, because it will live beyond any brand campaign that any agency does. It just does a good, clear job of communicating boundaries and either a distinctive voice or a graphic forward approach to communicate the Brownie and the significance of the district. So their creative fees were $880.
I was shocked. I was like, I wonder how much this is gonna cost them.
So I think both for that amount, just being in this business and knowing what they do for the convention, how they do what they do and how they would interpret this brief, I wouldn't imagine there's like proprietary illustration being done or anything wacky or crazy, which I'm not sure is what we would want or need anyway. I would imagine it would be a straightforward sign concept, a few to choose from, with more character than what we have that we would be proud of. So that's what this is. And it doesn't include production costs. I have no idea where one would get that produced, but Scott can probably help us with that.
I love this. I read through it. I mean, like, I'm a big proponent of more historic signs, because I feel like the ones when you're coming in, you're in a car for the most part. I mean, some people are walking, but it's, I mean, I think tourists walk around here and, you know, they look at every sign, and I think that's what makes our town interesting. And I missed the part where you said without feeling promotional part of a marketing campaign, because that was the one thing I thought, because I love the CVB
Yeah.
branding and advertising, but I'm like, you're right, they could change agencies, direction and strategy. So I like everything about, you know, being fresh and as long as it doesn't, you know, take the same feeling as what they're doing, I think this would be awesome.
Betty, thoughts?
I'm excited to see some of the ideas. It's kind of funny because I mentioned that we were going to be looking at this, and I had a resident say, "Why are you wasting money on this?" So I said, "Well, it's because it's something that's important to the community, and these things are 40+ years old, and they look more like a state park sign. We should really, I think, make it. I mean, we're working to make this community very historical." Right? A lot of different things going on to encourage our history. There's a cruise coming up on the 29th on the Star of Saugatuck to talk about Singapore. And to the point that was made, I see people all the time out here reading the historic marker in front of the city hall. So any effort we can make to continue to encourage that interest and respect for our community and our historic district, I'm in full support of this. I think it'll be the comment I heard is in the minority for sure. So.
And the history center signs are red. I see
Yeah.
people stopping
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
read those.
Absolutely.
constantly, and they're such a great addition to the community. And this just reinforces, like you're saying, it reinforces that we're in a special place that's historic and it's all around us.
And I would say that since I've been in this conversation, I have noticed the existing signs,
Me too.
which I've lived here 16 years and I have probably walked by daily, the one on Holland Street. And I just recently was like, oh, because it's not standing out to me in any way that's pretty, right? So I feel like we can do better and we should, and I'm in favor.
Yeah, I've lived in 3 historic districts and none of them had the ugly brown sign. They all had really nice, you know, things that you can do, and it's not hard, it's not ridiculously expensive, and it's a nice addition to our city. I'm fully in favor of it.
I think the only thing, so we can move this forward. I guess we need to vote on it, so we'll have a motion, but we'll have them come back and maybe when they're ready in the next meeting or whatever the time frame is, present the options to us. I think is probably the best thing for them to do. And we can vote and decide on that. In terms of the funding, I would defer to you guys to help us with, do we have money in our purse? I think we never spend our money.
Right, well, this, you know, the Historic District Commission in and of itself doesn't have a budget to spend. So this is something that, you know, we want to take to the city council and make sure they're fine moving ahead with this expenditure at this point in time.
Okay.
So, you know, I think it makes a ton of sense to you know, refresh the historic district signs that we have. And you know, the council actually prioritized for the current fiscal year that we're in, kind of a overall rebranding and taking a look at our logo and taking a look at our branding as a whole, and also wayfinding signage. This kind of really fits in with that. I would say, you know, I think my preference would be to see this kind of wrapped into a larger project and taking into account, you know, the larger work that needs to be done as well. And I think Concept A is somebody that's certainly been on our radar as well, because they're so intimately familiar with the area as it stands and doing the work for the CVB and that sort of thing. So it'll ultimately be a city council decision if they're fine with this kind of moving ahead on its own and not waiting for that process, or if they want it to be kind of wrapped in together. But we can bring it to a workshop soon to discuss with them.
I'd be happy to come to a workshop
absolutely.
and present it.
Sure.
Yeah, I've already pitched this, the council, or at least begin to discuss. This has been something we've been working on for a while, so it's not the first time we're hearing about this.
Mhm.
And I had made the mention that I was not in support of waiting for the city's rebranding because that's going to take a while. And I think this, for some of the reasons they're mentioned under the goals here, is that this should be a bit independent from that.
Yeah, I actually worry a little bit if it's under the umbrella. It will end up looking like a brand campaign, and I think that may be not what we want. It should be like stripes and plaids that work together, not so close. So
And I.
But I can
Recommendation,
come-
because you'll be making a recommendation today to the council or a request to them to essentially move forward with this would be what your motion and assuming approval
So-
would be to them, and then it would be up to them ultimately, their policymakers, but I think we could, I agree with you. I don't think that we want to see historic district signage, match up exactly with whatever the other wayfinding signage might be throughout the town. I'd see that, your point and benefit to having something that's distinct, that stands out, that doesn't get lost with everything else.
So why don't we make a motion and go through that? But I'll call Scott Herbert and get his estimate on, so we have an all-in cost when I do go to council. Because I'd like to have the creative cost and the installation and manufacturing costs complete. Is that okay?
Like I said, I can check with Scott on, what the high level estimate, what he thinks the cost would be on.
Okay,
on
if you want to do that, let me
fabricating
know.
some side. I mean, obviously, we probably need like an idea of, I think on here, they're looking at maybe some 2 up to 4, and then I think size is probably gonna be a factor on that too, and then types of posts, and so there's some other factors, but we can get a ballpark certainly.
Okay.
Yep.
Were you say, John?
Is this firm gonna be given a range? Because they can be radically different. There's a continuum of cost that could be
That's a good question.
$5,000 per sign or.
Oh,
Like.
Yeah, that's
those
a good-
Beautiful ones, I mean, you've probably seen them, they can be gorgeous,
Mhm.
they look like plaque signs.
But
I hadn't really thought about that. In my mind, it was still going to be a metal sign for durability, and just because it is kind of an official boundary versus
Mhm.
admittedly, I'm biased that it should sort of perform a role versus being performative. So I can't see it being like, whatever the guy's name is that would cost.
Bob Gross.
Yeah, I can't see it being like that level of, I know that's not what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying, I just think it could be really special, and really special costs a lot of money.
Include like a not to exceed or something.
They need to be given a range, like, if it's just a flat metal sign, that's.
Well, that's not these guys though.
yeah, I was just gonna say, it's just 880 to come up with the ideas, right?
But the sign itself is
Could be
part of the
executed.
idea.
Yeah,
The sign itself could reflect the concept.
I think I'd rather not hem them in, but maybe say,
Low, medium, high.
But they wouldn't know, would they, how much the materials would cost? They wouldn't go on.
Yeah, the more we ask that, the higher cost this is gonna be, because then they're gonna go into material studies and production studies for us, then I don't think we want that.
But aren't we stifling their creativity by not?
I think we let them deliver on the brief and leave it at that. And we can say, we are cost conscious for what production costs will be, but we don't want to stifle your creativity against the brief. If you have an idea you'd like to present to us, present it to us. In the meantime, we could get, I would estimate 4, and we can do whatever Scott says plus to accommodate something they might come back with.
Yeah, as long as we don't limit
Limit
what it would be.
Yeah,
Because
I
think
get you.
this is our one time
Yeah.
to make something permanent and beautiful, timeless.
It's only once every 40 years, John.
Yeah, right.
The only concern I have is Scope Creek is what you
Right.
brought up. And if I'm going to a creative source, it feels like from a engineering perspective, you need to tell them how big the box is gonna be and how visible you want it to be. You want it visible from 100 yards or 100 feet?
Yeah.
Or, for walkers, for drivers,
Well-
all those things that go into requirements that you tend to miss, we tend to miss. When we're putting together something.
So how about if you guys are okay with it, I'll just tell them current size plus 10%. And not put a limit on their creativity if they have ideas, but
That's fine.
just leave it at that. That's what a brief is designed to do, is to give you a jumping off point.
They will say, is it this big or that big?
Well, that's why I'd say
Yeah.
current size plus 10%.
How big are the current ones?
They're pretty good sized.
Yeah, they're.
They're.
Hey, you don't feel about
No one knows about these signs.
It's a good size.
They're like.
They're like the size of that.
By.
How's the bigger one?
Are they bigger than that?
Oh, yeah.
Historic signs now,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's right.
exactly.
Are they contributing?
Yeah.
Okay, somebody wanna,
Do we have current?
we have two,
I think there's two.
yeah.
But you're proposing maybe three, like,
I
where
put
would
that
the other
in-
one be at the,
Well, one of you guys suggested at the bottom of Allegan.
Yeah.
yeah, that would make sense.
I have just one more random thought that occurred to me while we were chatting. I personally feel that in this community, we need to look for opportunities to have multi-generational interaction and look for ways to get young people excited about potentially getting involved in stuff like local government or whatever. I'm wondering if there's an opportunity to have, if there's not to have the marketing class at school work on this, but maybe allow them to like sit in on our meeting and see like
great
how they
idea.
get
Love that.
excited. Or, and then just get people engaged a little bit so they know like, oh, this stuff happens. People actually talk about this and vote on it and.
That's a great idea, and knowing Andy at Concept A, he would love to incorporate that. And I'm also imagining, not to be like a PR guy, but I'm imagining when the story is in the paper about these signs, to be able to like go back to what you just said and how that was incorporated, I think is a really lovely story.
Well, and if he let the kids sit in on the brainstorm, they could give some ideas,
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, great.
There's some astonishing creativity
Mhm.
in that school.
Right.
Those sculptures.
Andrew
in the-
Malakas.
In the garden. they have some garden.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Maybe they can make the signs in the shop.
Population of people that make up this community, it's no surprise to me ever that these kids are just wildly
Yeah.
creative and astonishing, and the things that they are thinking of that we haven't even like put our finger on yet is just blows my mind, so.
Someone would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to engage, sorry, let me get this back. in front of me.
Concept, yeah.
Concept A to design and present historic district signs to replace our current signs for an amount of $880.
Thank you, Joe. Second?
Okay.
Any discussion?
I do have a question. Wasn't the motion to be to take it to council, or can we approve the $180 here?
Good point.
Yeah, you have to request that.
Yes, the motion that has to be to take it to council, not to engage.
So just add that to the beginning.
Yeah, I'll discuss this during my report at council on Monday,
Okay.
so.
And then whenever sorry, you had a motion on the table. Anything else? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes, opposed? Thank you. Whenever that gets scheduled, I'm happy to zoom in and share a little bit.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, new business C, the election of a secretary. Who wants to be secretary? Do not, everyone calm down.
It was almost Megan, she was gone, but then she.
Oh, Megan,
No.
gosh darn it, if I just would have added this in the very beginning.
Still nominate Megan.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
That would be great.
I have been there, done that.
Oh, that was very,
Hi.
that was very adamant.
That means you're good at
Not in this
I
level.
didn't know.
This is a whole different situation.
You're good at it.
This is a whole different situation.
This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation. This is a whole different situation
What does it entail?
Nothing.
Absolutely.
You don't do anything.
Really?
Just,
Okay, I'll do it.
Good job. We have nothing on it.
Commissioner Canarsa make the motion,
I
I
did
second
motion
that.
that, yes.
Yeah, and I seconded.
There you go. Was there any more discussion on that? No? Okay. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? All right. Thank you so much.
Madam Secretary.
I do like Navin in front of.
Absolutely. There's some administrative approvals that are in our packet. Nothing was crazy this last time. Anything on those? Pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
Any communication? Any public comments? No one here. Any commission comments? Welcome, Helen, officially.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And I know you
For having me. Looks forward to serving.
served our little town in many ways. So thank you
Yeah.
for bringing your expertise to us.
Thanks.
And you're,
Appreciate the
I know you
opportunity to
lived in
share.
a couple districts as well, so you have a,
What were the other districts?
Pleasant Ridge, Romeo.
Oh, cool. Are those both in Michigan?
Mhm.
Other side of the state.
Mhm.
awesome. Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Any other commission comments? If not,
One question.
Yeah.
Like training 101. Do we have anything that, that we can use that gets everybody kind of up to speed on the basics of the HDC? I'm thinking of all of us.
like a refresher.
Yeah.
I tell you, the best one we went to, and I can ask when I don't think it's SHPA, but the best one was that one in Holland
At the library.
at the library. It was so good.
Well, I went to the camp over in Kalamazoo.
No.
It was the same one.
It
It's
was
the
the same
same
one?
thing.
Yeah.
So they put on the same one. So
It's really
if
good.
anyone's interested, I can find out when there's another one. I'll bring this to our next meeting.
Yeah.
For the new people.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah.
It feels like it's something that.
Oh, I don't care how many
needs to
times
be
you
on our
do it.
checklist, Yeah.
I always learn something. So
Well, it's funny because I pulled up this notebook and it says you will go through training and like I didn't go through any training,
Yeah.
but this was helpful to look through because,
They do have that electronically too.
Yeah, I read that.
which
I read
I-
through all the-
I like to read
I
on
know.
paper, so this is nice to have a notebook, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think being in person,
That would be very helpful.
yes.
the one in Holland that we're referring to, and they might have done this at the one in Kalamazoo, but they take you through case studies.
That's really good.
And they're a little bit like, so this is an application for blah, 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 blah. What would you do? Like, it's a little bit like work around the table.
It's really good.
Um,
Let's find out when
Okay.
they're out there.
we'll bring that to the next meeting.
Mr. Chair, we can share with you too, the Michigan Historic Preservation Network has some trainings that they've done that are recorded in the last 3 or 4 years. In fact, I just shared, I think, some links to them with Grayson, but they actually started with a kind of a 101 video, so we can share those links out. You could kind of.
That'd be great.
at your
Thank you.
leisure.
Really good.
In fact, they just kind of put out, I guess for your knowledge, kind of a call to action that they're concerned about their funding potentially being cut completely and being able to continue. So yeah, along as well. But we'll Grayson will share that link and information with you guys.
And I'm so sorry I didn't give an appropriate welcome to Grayson, since this is your first meeting as well. So I feel like we had a conversation earlier this week, so I already had the familiarity in my mind, but thank you. We're excited to have you once a month, join our little family. All right, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second,
Okay.
all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Okay, thanks all.